What do you want? You want my Rolex? Whatever.
What are we talking about today? Should we insure our watches? How do we insure them? And is it worth it?
I will see and hear firsthand
This kind of sound. Let's hear the rest of it.
So when it comes time to insuring our watches, it can get complicated, even murky, with the different types of coverages there are, how much of a policy do we need, and all the different addendums that are involved. And after all that, will our policy be there for us when we really need it? This show is inspired by a really good friend who just recently had his watch stolen. Actually, I have it right here. Was that too soon? It was too soon. Bad joke. You're a terrible friend, Rich. So I'm going to decomplicate, that's not a word, but that's what I'm going to attempt to do when it comes to the insurance mystery and our watches. From my personal experience, Ira's recent experience, and my lengthy conversations with 3 of the largest insurance companies, Allstate, State Farm, and Farmers. On this show, we're going to cover renter's insurance because that's Ira's experience. Ira had $100,000 liability coverage plus $30,000 in personal property for about $20 a month coverage. And coincidentally, that's the same policy I had years ago when I was renting. $100,000 is pretty much the standard amount whenever a manager requires you to have renter's insurance. And most of the time, managers are pretty good at least with my experience, of leaving a note on your door ahead of time, giving you the heads up saying that on this date, we're going to enter your unit for such and such reason. But on this occasion, Ira didn't get the heads up notice until after he came home and found a note inside of his unit on his table where it said, by the way, we entered your unit for such and such reason. And it wasn't even an emergency. But he had a 1-year-old Rolex Explorer 2 that was stolen. So after the initial emotions wore out, or settled down, I should say, he called his manager and filed a police report. And then he also remembered that he was fully covered. Plus his personal property was $30,000. The watch was $6,000. Do we know how much he was reimbursed by his insurance company for his $6,000 Explorer 2? $1,500. And that's all because he didn't have the personal article policy, which is an addendum to renter's insurance.
Fortunately, there are some restrictions, and that has a maximum payout limit.
What? Telling me that I'm not fully covered? Even though I got a policy that says I
It
am?
doesn't seem right, does it?
He thought, like I thought, and I think many people think, that as long as they have personal property, for $30,000, everything in their possessions will be covered up to that amount. And he wasn't made aware of the personal article policy, as neither was I. And he got burned.
Is she going to replace all the jewelry for the exact same thing?
That's a good question.
The personal article policy is only a couple dollars a month. I think it was $4 a month. And what can he do with the $1,500? He certainly can't go out and replace his Explorer 2, not even a pre-owned one for that price. He tried to fight that, but it didn't work out for him. Or at least I should say it's still not working out for him. So why did Ira get $1,500 for his watch, even if he didn't have the personal article policy? Because it still fell under the category of personal property. But he also got the minimum amount, or the maximum amount I should say, which is $1,500. The personal article policy is something specific, and it's designed for anything that we have a value of $5,000 or more. So how do we go about insuring our watch? It's really simple. If we have a receipt within 2 years of purchase or an appraisal. But remember, we have to have the personal article policy to have that watch fully insured. But what if someone doesn't have any proof, no appraisal, no receipt for something like a watch? Will that person still be covered? Yes, you will still be covered, but for that minimum amount, which is between $1,000 to $1,500 for individual amount, for an individual item. So for anyone with renter's insurance, the personal article policy is a must, especially if you have items valued at $5,000 or more. There are a lot of advantages to have this addendum to your policy, because if you don't, your items are only protected inside of your home. So if anything happens outside of your home, if you're on vacation or you're out and about and you get mugged,
Give us your jewelry, Kimmy.
or you take off your watch to set the time and you drop it on the concrete and it breaks, none of that will be covered if you don't have the personal article policy.
It's the first time we let people perform. You lost something, bro? Oh, is that?
Oh shit. Put it on the watch.
You almost lost the bezel.
Oh, we'll screw back on. Oh shit.
So for about $4 a month, it's totally worth it to have that. Because what if we do get mugged away from home and basically our insurance is worthless to that watch? There is another advantage of having this addendum to your policy, and that means there is no deductible, while there is a deductible if you don't have this addendum. But what if you have a watch that's about $500? Would I recommend this addendum, the personal article policy? Maybe, because if you don't, and you have a deductible for, let's say, $500, you'd be paying $500 deductible to get $500 back, so that may not be worth it. I would seriously start considering this addendum if your watch is $1,000, and for sure if it's $3,000 or above. Ira's claim was resolved in about a week or a week and a half before he got his check for $1,500. Now, unlike car insurances, where if we have accidents, our rates go up and we might even get cut off by the insurance, it's almost impossible for that to happen with renter's insurance because they don't consider theft our fault. So we can file as many claims as we want. If we file, for example, numerous claims, like 10 claims in a week, they might start looking into that. But all the insurance companies said the same thing. It's almost impossible to raise your rates or to cut you off when it comes to theft or burglary because that's never considered our fault. So when it comes time to determining what kind of renter's insurance policy we have, remember, just because you have a high personal property coverage is not enough, especially when it comes to watches and jewelry. It's necessary to have the personal article policy addendum because that means we will be fully insured inside and outside of our home. So these are guidelines that were from my personal experience and information that was passed on by all three insurance companies. So you'll have to probably talk to your personal agent to get anything more specific, but hopefully this will be or is very helpful. So hopefully I was able to simplify the mystery and all the complications of renter's insurance. The biggest thing to get is the personal article policy addendum to be fully insured, especially when it comes time to filing a claim on an expensive watch. So let me know what your thoughts are, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time. It's important to remember to have that addendum. So it's important. So the personal article policy at $4 a month times 12 is 38, that's not how math works, is $4 is $48. So let's round it up to 60, 50. Come on, man. Cheers.